we're back and we are going to make our next project. This is the craft that came in your kit. You may not have known what it was. It's this little tub and it's full of clay. So you should have a bunch of colors of clay in your kit. We're going to be making a little tiny owl. What you need besides what's in that little container is a piece of parchment paper. This is something that your mom or dad or grandma or whatever grown up there is might have in their cabinet. It's like saran wrap for baking. If you do not have parchment paper, don't run out and get any. You can use tin foil, okay? You're gonna need a grown up to turn the oven to 250 degrees and let it preheat because we are using Sculpey. All of those cute earrings that people have been making, they are from Sculpey. And so what you do with your clay is you create what you want to create, and then when you're done, you bake it in the oven. And so here's my teeny tiny owl. They're so cute. They're so fun. You probably will have a little bit of extra Sculpey left, and so you can use that for something else. I'm going to give you all the instructions as we go through the video. So again, really all you need is the parchment paper and you need the little clay. If you want, you can get a toothpick. So ask a grown-up for a toothpick. I have a plastic knife. I probably won't use the plastic knife, but it helps with cutting sometimes. So if you want to get a plastic knife, get a plastic knife. If you have a grown-up that's helping you and you really do want to cut, you can actually cut with just like a little paring knife. But kiddos, that has to be done with a grown-up, okay? So go ahead and get your stuff. If you need to stop the video for just a minute to get your stuff, go ahead and do that. I'm gonna stop the video just long enough to flip it down so you can see my hands. So you'll only hear my voice, but you'll see my hands. Okay, we'll start in just a bit. All right, let's get started. So I have got this. This is actually going to be my baking sheet, but I can use it to roll my stuff on. I'm just gonna dump all of this out. There's lots of little different pieces. I tried to give you a bunch of colors. So what I'm gonna do first is going to be to take the piece that I want for the body. On this body, I did this purple. You have different size pieces, so it probably needs to be one of your bigger pieces. I'm gonna make a green body. I'm gonna take this and I am going to squish it in my fingers. The squishing it softens it up, and then I'm gonna roll it in a ball. Pretty easy. Mine's not an exact ball. It's okay. I'm gonna use my thumb and this finger and I'm gonna smush it. Then I'm gonna set it down on the parchment paper, or if you're using tin foil, and I'm just gonna continue. I don't want it super duper thin, but I also want it thin enough so that it bakes evenly. Now, if you have dirty hands, sometimes it will be in the clay. I actually have some stuff on my parchment paper that is picking up. It's not that big of a deal. All right, I have my little guy. He's ready to go. Now, here's where if you had a toothpick and you wanted to use it, you would use it. You can add texture. Texture just means that you add like some little designs. I just pushed that into my owl's body. You probably can't see it very well, but it's making lines. I did some lines on the bottom half. I'm gonna make this the face. It's easier to do this before you add the wings. I can also use the tip of the toothpick. I can make like little polka dots. So I'm just polka dotting some little bits into the stripe that is sticking up. That's how you add texture. Again, texture is a choice. You don't have to do it. Once I have done that, I'm gonna get my next piece. It's the one that's the next size up. I have a couple, I can do blue or I can do yellow. I think I'll do the blue. So again, I'm gonna squish it, my blue. There's different kinds of Sculpey. This blue is a little bit harder. So this time, I am going to, once I get it done, I'm gonna roll it into a hot dog, and then I use my fingers like that to squeeze the hot dog. This is where you can either use your hands, you can use your toothpick, or if you have the knife, you can use the knife. So if I were gonna use the knife, what I'm doing is actually just breaking it in half because I need 2 wings. So there are my 2 little pieces. I could have done the same thing. I can take a toothpick, bust it in half. I can just use my hands and pop it in half. But since I've done the toothpick, these are little kind of chubby pieces. They look like pieces of candy. Actually, we'll use this knife. I'm gonna use this knife and I'm gonna smush it just so you can see what happens. So the plastic knife, I'm just gonna flatten it a little bit. Once I have flattened it, I am going to use my fingers as my tools. I'm gonna get my finger like in a pinching motion, and I am going to pinch each end to make it look more like a diamond. I'm gonna do it on both. So I pinch one end, and I pinch the other end, and then it looks more like a diamond. Once I have that, you don't need to do anything to attach it like glue or anything. You just stick it on. Where I am sticking it is going to be right above where like my belly would end. When I stick it, I apply just a little bit of pressure. All right, there are my owl wings. Now, next thing I'm gonna do is eyeballs. Remember what I said earlier. If you get behind and I'm going too fast, just stop the video. So eyeballs, I am just gonna pinch off tiny little bit of white. I'll use my hand, roll it in a ball. So I have one little ball. I don't even care if my eyes are exactly the same size. You can make it kind of cartoony, make the eyes different sizes. But I have two balls. I'm gonna stick them right next to each other up here on the owl's head, and I am going to just squish those a little bit. So I do, mine touch, I love them that way. I have more white left for something else if I want it. I've got two eyeballs, one is big, one is little. I like it that way, I think it makes it look silly. I'm gonna take the little bit of black. I didn't give you a whole bunch because you don't need a whole bunch, but I'm gonna pinch that in half. I'm gonna roll it into a ball, and I'm gonna set one on this eye. I'm gonna tap it down. Kind of reminds me of a reverse Oreo cookie. You know how you've got the chocolate on the outside and then the white on the inside, the frosting, it kind of looks like that. Okay, now that part is done. Now sometimes you'll see like on this little owl, you'll have that little piece of white. I actually went too big. So if you decide you want a little piece of white inside the eye, make it really, really, really tiny. Otherwise, it'll end up looking like your owl just has a big old white something stuck in its eye. If you want to skip this part, that's fine. Here's another use for your toothpick. It helps you to move stuff. Okay, I got the little white center. I still have too big for the next white center, so here I go. I'm gonna cut that in half with my toothpick. Roll it in a ball. It takes practice to roll these into good balls. The good news is you can practice as many times as you want because this won't get hard until you bake it. Now, I will say sometimes you'll notice that like when I roll my white, I start getting, if I had touched the black, I start getting black in it. So you sometimes have to stop and wash your hands. All right, you should have some orange, and this is for the feet and the beak. We're gonna do the beak first. You pinch off, it's really a tiny amount. Warm it up by rolling it in my hand, squishing it around. And on this, I'm gonna squish it here. I've got kind of a circle. I'm actually gonna use the toothpick and I am gonna push down. I'm gonna go like this. Then I'm gonna come to the other side and I'm gonna go like that. And basically I'm making a triangle. Once I have my triangle done, he's rolling away from me. I'm gonna pick it up. Oh, that's a really big beak, but that's okay. I like a silly owl. So that's gonna be kind of big, like it. If you want smaller, go smaller. I'm just using the toothpick, but I can also use my finger just to kind of tap it down. And there I have a little beak. Next thing I'm gonna do is feet. I do feet the exact same way. Roll it into a ball. I'm gonna set it down. I'm gonna kind of squish it. I'm gonna set that little round piece right there. I'm gonna get another chunk of orange. My orange is a little bit hard, so I'm gonna need to warm it up. Here we go. Round and around and around. I'm squishing it. After I've squished it, I'm attaching it. That is just fine. I can be done right there. Stick him in the oven. He's good to go. I'll give you the oven instructions in just a minute. Or I can actually use the toothpick and I can separate the little like toes or talons on the owl using the toothpick. So you can do that if you want to. I will also say scissors can cut through this clay and make a nice clean cut. I didn't think of saying that earlier. Sometimes when I'm dividing it up, I will use a pair of scissors. Okay, my owl. Now, I wanna make sure that everything is actually touching. Now you can see this owl, he doesn't have any kind of decoration or anything, but he could. I did put some details on the wing. Again, you can poke it with your toothpick. I miss making pokey dots. I like pokey dots. You knew that about me because I already told you. All right, next thing I'm gonna do just for fun, I don't have to do this, I'm gonna make some little polka dots on the wings. I'm gonna roll a teeny tiny bit of purple. I'm gonna stick it right there and stick it down. And I'm gonna do like 3 purple polka dots on each of this owl's wings. See how cute that is? You can do this kind of stuff, and then I'm gonna show you one more thing before I tell you how to bake it. All right, now there we go, down. And I gotta do the other wing. I think this one's a little big, so I'll cut it in half. Here we go. Sometimes it starts sticking to me. When that happens, I usually will grab the tooth. Well, see, it stuck to me. Okay, by that time it went on. Oh, those are great colors. Everybody has different colors, so I would love to see what you did with your owl and see how cute it is. All right, I'm pretty much done with this guy. He's gonna go in the oven. It should be preheated, 250 degrees. Stick it right in, this is the grown-up job. Stick it in right on the parchment paper because it won't stick to the parchment paper. Again, if you don't have parchment paper, use aluminum foil. Put it in the oven, set a timer for 15 minutes. Leave it in there for 15 minutes. Grown-up can take it out. He will be hard. This guy is hard. Now, what can you do with him? You can glue a magnet on the back, stick it on your refrigerator. I go to Hobby Lobby, usually Hobby Lobby, but Michael's or Joann's. You can get little backs for necklaces and glue it on and make it into a necklace. You can just set him up. I got this cute little guy. You can have him be a little watcher. He can watch you, but you can actually glue this to anything. You painted a canvas owl. You could glue this on the bottom of your canvas owl. But really, it's just for fun, learning how to make different things out of clay. This clay is fun because you can bake it and it will last. It'll get nice and hard. One other thing that I did, I'm gonna show you this one. You can marble clay. I'm gonna start squishing this so you can see. This one is an example of me running multiple colors together. So that's kind of a fun thing that you can do with the Sculpey clay. Just be careful that you pay attention to your rainbow colors. And it's fun to, let's say that I got my owl done, I could make this into a little heart shape. I could go and look on YouTube and I could come up with some other ideas, but you have extra pieces of Sculpey. I actually used my Sculpey and made more than one owl when I was practicing this. And so you can do more than one owl. I will make sure at the end of the video that you have the directions for cooking. I hope you had a good time. Don't forget, I love to see pictures of your artwork. Bye, guys.